Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jessica Blevins. I recently have taken a leadership role with the Office of the President as the coordinator and event planner at the University House. And I've almost been there for a year.
How do you handle movements when your team disagrees with your decisions?
It's not comfy and it never will get
Yeah,
comfy, but the more you do it, the more you go through it, the more
right.
less unbearable it becomes.
Mhm.
And I think acknowledging that it may not be the most comfiest thing ever, but saying that you can come to me and keeping that
Yeah.
communication outlet open and fluid really helped me. I know recently I just had a spat with a team member
Mhm.
and now it's fine
Okay.
because we got to get each other like talk it out and then
Mhm.
kind of redo that foundation a little bit,
Right.
and come to an understanding. And so that way, when we move forward, we both know what we need to do in order to get along with the job.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, how do you decide where to place team members or assign tasks to make sure that everyone's working efficiently and playing their strengths?
I think that last part is really big, playing
Mhm.
to their strengths. If, employee A is really good at what employee B is not, you're not going to try to flip them.
Mhm.
Especially not saying that there's no room for growth, but you definitely are going to try to assign them tasks that they can do and they're good at and
Mhm.
that make them happy. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, people like doing what they're good at.
Right.
And then maybe in the future, looking to see how you can grow that
Mhm.
task that they're maybe not good at. But
Yeah.
really playing to their strengths and seeing what needs to be done and, making those hard decisions that if they're really uncomfortable, but they need to kind of stretch and grow a little bit, and you can
Mhm.
see that potential,
Yeah.
telling them like, no, no, you can do it, and I
Yeah.
want you to do it because I want you to grow in the end of the day. So
Right.
kind of both, starting out with their strengths and potentially allowing them to stretch out a little more.
How do you handle the stress when it comes to the job, and has it caused any sudden outbursts of anger or frustration? I know that can get hard with high school kids.
Yeah, I would say the sudden outburst thing, that just takes a little bit of self control. Like if you absolutely need to get away for a minute and compose yourself, go lock yourself in a bathroom or wait till you get in your car at the end of the day and just scream into your steering wheel or your pillow or, whatever, and just trying not to let that happen in public. And then stress and stuff like that, I think it's just being able to say no. And no when's too much. When you have some free time or a little room on a plate to take something else on, and just making sure that you don't overwork yourself. Because I think a lot of the times, if you can't say no, the emotional outbursts and the anger outbursts and stuff like that are a lot more common.
And tell me about a time that somebody gave you advice or feedback to help you become better at the job.
Yes. I would say a time that I got feedback. I've had some people come and observe me teaching and observe me interact with students and things like that. And one of my professors told me to not be scared to ask the school for more support instead of just taking on the financial burden of running a classroom on my own. I'm telling them, hey, I really need a little bit of money to pay for these classroom materials or whatever, and not pay out of my own pocket. And that kind of helped build a little bit more of a professional rapport with the school district and just being like, hey, I want to do for a bunch of these kids, but I can't pay for it all by myself. And they just be like, absolutely, we don't expect you to let us chip in and help out. And it's kind of helped create a little bit more of a professional working relationship.
All right. And what do you do to make sure everybody in your team or in your classroom, in this case, feels included and respected?
Yeah. I think the good thing about being a young educator is a lot of the movies and music and video games and stuff like that my students or officer team are interested in is a lot of the stuff that I was interested in when I was their age because I'm not that much older than them. So just being able to have those conversations about things outside of a classroom or a workspace or something like that and relating to them and sharing a personal story, listening to their personal stories and stuff like that, it kind of helps people be seen and it also gives you a chance in the future to talk about something completely unrelated to whatever it is the class or the event or anything like that is going on. If they're having a bad day, sometimes it's better to just talk about if they've watched any cool movies or if they've done anything cool over the weekend rather than bringing up whatever it is that they're struggling with. And I think that is a pretty good approach to interact with just about anybody.
And your job title?
Holly Hatchett. I am a ICU charge nurse for the last about 20 years.
Okay. What was it like getting promoted when you had friends at work, and how did you deal with the changes in your relationships?
Okay. It is very difficult to separate being a friend and being an authority figure. So you have to just know and you have to show them that you treat everyone the same. And I would say the hardest part is probably you want to be harder on your friends because you expect more out of them. So that was kind of always the challenge. They thought I was being maybe too hard on my friends because I expect more out of them and being more easier on the other people. And they want to think I'm going to give them the best assignment or help them more, but that's not always the case. And you just have to know that at work, it's not personal. And when we get outside work, it's just we're friends and we can hang around.
Okay. When it comes to criticism and difficult conversations, how do you go about addressing the problem?
So usually there's 2 or 3 sides to the story. There's what happened in one person's point of view, there's what happened in the other person's point of view, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. So I try to first separate the people as to what happened. It also depends on what it is. Is it between a patient and the nurse? Is it between the family and a patient? Is it between 2 nurses? Like it kind of depends. You have to handle each situation differently. So first you want to separate the 2 people and get each side